Hello and welcome back to Southeast Ohio Sports Talk. We've reached double digits for our episodes now, but we're just starting to get even more exciting with our coverage. We've got all kinds of content to discuss this week, but first we're going to talk a little bit about tennis. Now, sectionals play is in the books, so we're getting ready to go to district play. And we recorded this episode on Tuesday. District play actually begins Wednesday morning, so make sure you're staying tuned to the Portsmouth Daily Times and checking out for updates on our website and in the print version. You can also follow us on Twitter. My Twitter is bspicerpdt, and then Kevin, yours is Kevin Colley 7, is that right?
Colley
Kevin 7, okay.
Yeah.
I always mix that up.
Yeah, that's okay.
But yeah, make sure you give us a follow. We'll be covering all kinds of great action. First, we're going to talk about tennis, though, and just talk about that sectionals play from several of the local teams. First off, Memphis Kaylee McGinnis, she advanced in singles play. Yes. Got the chance to watch her play at the start of the season. She started out 2-0 in singles play. Not sure where she went from there, but she was really impressive in those games. It only took 2 sets to win the match for her in both of those games. So it's not really coming as a surprise to me that she's advanced. She was very impressive early on in the season. I know you went there. Did you get a chance to see what Kaylee did on the court in sectional play?
Yeah, I saw a couple of sets of what Kaylee did. Just seemed like a very, very poised young individual. It is a perfect fit, really, for a person that you would think of that would advance to district play because of that aforementioned poise. She just handles herself really well. And then the unseasonably warm weather that we had last week really acquitted herself well, ended up winning 2 games, and then lost to a Logan Elm singles, but still got the 6th and final district slot even with that defeat. I think that she has a solid chance to make it further out of the first round of districts because of that poise and just her overall abilities, as you mentioned. Just a very excellent young lady, young athlete. Led Memphis the entire year from that number 1 single slot. So I don't see any problems with her at least getting to the second round, and she could definitely do some damage after that for sure. It just really nobody really knows, not even the coaches know how the brackets look as of yet from what I've talked to and what I've gathered. But as far as I know, she's got a shot with the right draw for sure.
Medford's rival Valley, they had a doubles draw go on to play in district play. Did you get a chance to see them play?
I was not able to catch Billie Jean Jennis or Hannah Conley play, but from what I understand, being able to beat Portsmouth, a Portsmouth doubles team, and then beat a Notre Dame, a Wheelersburg doubles team, is quite impressive. I think that that bodes well for what Jennis and Cobley can bring to the table. Again, like McGinnis, they were the number 1 doubles tandem for Valley and caused problems, for their opponents when team play was held during the regular season. So I definitely think they'll also be a tough out. Jennis and Conley are both upperclassmen too, so that could pose some problems for younger teams.
Yeah, and they're coached well for certain. One of the things that Valley's head coach specializes in is doubles play, so that's good to see that Valley had a representative go on to play in districts, and Wheelersburg actually had a singles representative as well as a doubles representative. What can you tell us about the girls that made it for Wheelersburg?
It's like most Wheelersburg teams, it's stacked up and down the roster. What's really scary is that the 3 that advanced, Leah Wright in singles, and then you have Maddie Gill and Caitlin Summer in doubles. They're not seniors. Not one of them are. Gill is only a freshman. Summer is only a sophomore, and Wright is a junior. So they're all coming back next year, and they all have a very, very good chance possibly to make it to the state level. Wright was outstanding, and all tournament long ended up getting the number 3 overall seed for district play. Has an excellent chance again with the right draw to make a run, possibly to make it to state. Unioto's Gray will be very, very tough to beat. She really handled most of the competition, but it's very possible that Wright could sneak in there and get that second and final qualifying slot to go to state. It's very, very possible. Then with Gill and Summer, I think they have the best chance of any of the people that we have mentioned to advance to state. They were just flat outstanding. They won 36 of their first 37 sets that were available for play, and just really set the tone for the Pirates as they have continued to field outstanding teams in pretty much every sport that we see, and nothing new really. They've just continued the standard of excellence that Wheelersburg has set here.
Like we said, we recorded this episode on Tuesday. District play begins on Wednesday morning, so make sure you're staying tuned to the Portsmouth Daily Times website and the print edition for updates on the tennis tournament, district tournament up in Athens. It's going to be fun to keep an eye on throughout and see how those local girls are doing up there.
Yes.
Now, we've got some other tournaments on the horizon coming up. Volleyball is set to begin here next week, as well as soccer coming up here in just a few days. So we're going to take a look at some of those brackets. Now, volleyball has teams competing in Jackson. Those are the SOC I teams. And then the SOC II teams are competing in Waverly. So we're going to start with the Jackson bracket and just taking a look at some of the teams that are in there. Southern is playing South Webster in a play-in game. That's in the Jackson 1 district. Clay has the first round bye. They'll play the winner of Manchester and Green, and then there's several other SOC schools, Western, Eastern, and Sims Valley in that bracket. As for the Jackson 2 bracket, Notre Dame gets a first round bye with their impressive season, as well as New Boston. Glenwood, New Boston has a bye as well in that one, and several other teams, Eastern and Sciotaville Community East, of course, will play in a playing game to play New Boston. So in the Jackson bracket, what are your thoughts? Do you think Notre Dame has this in the bag, or?
I don't think. I mean, nothing's a guarantee in life. Like anything else, Notre Dame's going to have to bring. It's that game. But when tournament play comes around, Notre Dame has always seemed to bring its very best of its best. So yes, if I had to pick a favorite for the Jackson 2 side, I would pick Notre Dame to win that district fairly handily. Although the story for me that's really impressive in that is New Boston. That's something for the school to really be proud of, with a team that's 11 games above 500. It's a program there that Kendra Holberg's coaching that hasn't seen that type of success in a long time, maybe ever. And we're going to expound on it more here in the coming minutes. But I'm just really impressed with what New Boston's brought to the table this year. They've clinched third in the conference, and they've really brought a great effort and work ethic to the table. As for the Jackson 1, I think Waterford at 17-1 there and state ranked in D4 is going to be really tough to beat. But I really think Clay, with having beat Wheelersburg and having won the Alexander Invitational, if they get Jensen Warnock with Delaney Gill and Taylor Lewis all going at the same time, I really think it could be a very, very exciting regional semifinal where Clay and Notre Dame meet up for the third time this year. I wouldn't bet against that happening. I actually think that will happen.
It'll be fun if that does happen, to see those two teams clashing once again this season. If I remember correctly, Notre Dame's won the first two matches of the season,
yes.
So if they would meet up, it would be the third time this season. A chance for redemption, perhaps, for the Panthers, if they're able to make it that far. So make sure you stay tuned for that. That would be great to see. But for the Waverly bracket, let's take a look at that. Wheelersburg gets the first round bye. They'll play the winner of Colgrove and Oak Hill. And Piketon will await the winner of Northwest and Portsmouth West. Several other teams from around the area there, Nelsonville, York, and Zane Trace, will play as well. As for the Waverly 2 bracket, several other local teams, Portsmouth most notably, they have a first round bye. They'll play the winner of South Point and Rock Hill. And I have to think the Trojans are riding high heading into this tournament, given what they did last night on Monday night against Gallia Academy, a team that's been impressive all throughout the season, dating back to 2 years ago even. They haven't lost an OVC match since October of 2015, and that was, of course, to Portsmouth. So Portsmouth was down 2 sets in that match. They came back, took it to 5 sets. It was a great match between both teams, but I think Portsmouth showed a lot of resiliency, and heading into this tournament, I think they've got a lot to hang their heads on.
I certainly do as well. In that bracket, that I think they're definitely a candidate to be in district finals, and I think they will reach there. Chillicothe Southeastern, as we all know from the ever tough SVC, Iowa Valley Conference is probably arguably the best volleyball conference traditionally in the Southeast District. But as I think Portsmouth can give Southeastern a run for its money, and I think again, you look at Wheelersburg on the other side, they're the odds-on favorite to win that side of the bracket. So I would not be a bit surprised to see Portsmouth and Berg meet up in the regional semis, and that was close as Saturday as we saw them play in a North Adams tri-match where they went to 3 sets, and Wheelersburg won by the skin of their teeth, 26-24. So both those teams are really playing well at the right time, and it's going to be really fun to watch. As we mentioned before, Colley and Notre Dame, but also Portsmouth and Wheelersburg, move through the district competition and see if those 4 Scioto County teams can meet each other in regional play.
Yeah, when you have 6 seniors on your roster like Portsmouth does, the experience factor definitely comes into play. So we'll see how things shake up for the Trojans as well as the Pirates and the others in the Waverly bracket. As for girls soccer, they'll be taking to Waverly as well for their tournament. And looking at the first bracket for the Waverly 1 region, Wheelersburg has that first round bye. They are awaiting the winner of South Point and Portsmouth West. Memphis will play Chesapeake at Memphis on October 17th. And that's all for the SOC representatives in that bracket. So looking at the Waverly 2 bracket, Northwest will play Piketon. The winner of that game goes on to play Lynchburg Clay, and then Eastern will play Fairfield. Several other local teams in the mix as well, Southeastern, and Zane traced that one over at Southeastern. What do you think about this bracket? Do you think Wheelersburg is the favorite heading into this?
Odds on favorite is Berg's to lose. They've shown nothing less than dominance over the course of the season, and from the games that I've seen, I see no way that they won't get to the regional finals. It's the best in the short 4 years that they've had a soccer program. It is the best girls soccer team that I've seen. I watched them in 2014. I thought, well, this team will, win the SOC, start, dictating the tempo of that conference a little bit. I had no idea they were going to be, the number 7 ranked team in all Division III by this point. I mean, it shows how much they've dedicated to the game. North Adams and Memphis will be their toughest competition. I have North Adams beating Memphis in the district semis, but yeah, Memphis, that could go either way too. North Adams is a tough opponent, but I see no problems with Wheelersburg getting the regionals, and I think they're again. I have no qualms in saying that they're a state Final Four caliber team.
Let's head over to the boys bracket now, and they're going to play in Waverly as well once they get to that portion of the tournament. And Northwest, I think, has to be the favorite heading into this one as well. Their first game is going to be a home game, October 18th at 5 p.m. They'll play the winner of West Union and Portsmouth West. Portsmouth West, of course, a team they've seen already this year. Rock Hill also has the first round bye on that side of the bracket. They're awaiting the winner of South Point and New Boston. And heading over to the Waverly 2 side of things, South Webster with the first round bye in that one, joined with Lynchburg Clay. They'll play the winner of Belpre and Southeastern, South Webster that is. Valley and Clay will face off in that one to face the winner of South Webster and Belpre Southeastern. And Memphis and Wheelersburg, 2 teams that have met twice already this season, they're facing off towards the bottom of the bracket. So could we potentially see a South Webster and Northwest game down the road?
I think we will. Those two have done nothing to, again, like the Wheelersburg girls they've done nothing to prove us otherwise, in my opinion. The South Webster has played an extremely tough schedule and have not only played an extremely tough schedule, but passed their test. They tied Albany Alexander on the road, state-ranked Division II squad. Played Logan even to halftime, a Division I squad that's 12-2-1 on the season, lost 3-0. But I mean, with the amount of players Logan had, about 40 deep, that's to be expected. It's just and Northwest has really run the table and passed all of its tests resoundingly all year. I see no problems with either team making it to the regional semifinals. Also play each other. They're talented. I really cannot wait for that matchup more than any other, because it's going to, with both teams not having played each other in the regular season, it's going to be really, really exciting to see what one does to counteract what the other can bring to the table. How is the Northwest offensive attack, if they are able to advance to play South Webster and vice versa, how are they going to handle Jacob Ruth and Michael Andrews on that back line? Are they going to be able to break through against that? And likewise, can Charlotte Evans, Ty Collins, and Sam Holstein handle the back line that is led by Tyler Webb and Chase McClay and guys like Austin Campbell, Mason Campbell, can they pass that test? It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, it'll definitely be fun to watch a battle for Scioto County supremacy, if you will, heading down the road, if that does end up happening in the sectional tournament. Now we're going to go ahead and talk about our top performers of the week. I'll go ahead and start since Kevin just wasted a couple breaths there talking. I'll go ahead because I know you've got a lot to get to. So I just wanted to give a shout out to the East offensive line against Eastern. Heading into that game, it was kind of given that they were going to have success, but when you've got Dalton Tomlinson opposing side of the defensive line staring at you, it's not easy. I mean, they've got Blaine Scott up front, and we give him a lot of recognition, but you've got to think about the guys that are beyond him, guys like Braden Gifford and Trenton Bond, guys on the line, just getting the job done for the East Tartans. They're going to have a tall task this week with Oak Hill, and next week even with Sims Valley, so we'll see how they hold up with 3 tough games in a row, but they passed the first test against Eastern last week for sure. Wheelersburg, we've just talked about the Lady Pirates soccer team. You got to give them credit. They won the SOC title once again. It's almost like it was expected, though, at this point with all the success that they've had. I believe that was their 3rd straight SOC crown. So congrats to them, and just keep your heads up and keep fighting. You guys have had a great season so far, and we expect you guys to continue your success moving forward. Yes. And last but not least, we've got Wheelersburg's Aaron Jolly. He scored 4 goals in a game as a freshman. We talked about it earlier in the season when Evan Throckmorton from Northwest had 6 goals. I haven't scored 4 goals in my entire career, so for a freshman to do that in a game like that, SOC game, it just says a lot about Aaron Jolly. And he's real short. Yeah, he's real short on the field, but he makes up for it in heart. He definitely makes up for it in heart. Despite the small stature, he's got the biggest heart of anyone on the team. I think it's fair to say. I mean, he's a tough kid. Scored 4 goals. The last one he scored, the Waverly defender knocked it in, but we'll give him the 4th goal because he definitely deserved it. He played hard and looked great for the Pirates. Kevin, go ahead and take it away with yours.
I have Abbie Hamilton from New Boston accomplished her 1,000th kill mark Monday night again at Ironton St. Joe. Was lucky to be there on hand, just happened to go to the game, and I was told by Kim Lawless of New Boston, who knows everything about New Boston sports, being around it so much, said Allie's 13 kills away from 1,000. I'm like, wow, I'm really glad, I'm here to cover it. She ended up getting it in the 4th set of a 3-1 New Boston victory, and now has 1,004 kills for her career, and is the first player in New Boston volleyball history to ever accomplish that feat. Abbie is the big reason why New Boston is now where it's at volleyball wise. They have not seen this type of success in a long time, if ever. And her work ethic and heart and diligence, not only on the volleyball court but on the basketball court, where New Boston has also experienced a lot of success on the girls basketball side. Under Kayla Wiley is a big reason why this program is turning in the right direction with under the seniors' leadership. A very, very talented class at New Boston, and Allie's the figure of that. So congratulations, Abbie. Thank you for your kindness and just for taking time out to do the interview after the game, and just a very kind and kind-hearted, hard-working person. That I cannot wait to see what she'll do or what college interest she'll obtain, because she definitely deserves it. And then you have Abbie Kallner, the Shawnee State University basketball commit, who basically said after the game that's where she'll be heading to play. Accomplished 1,000 assists on the volleyball side, so she can not only dish out the assist on the basketball court, she can dish the assist out on the volleyball court too.
True point guard.
Yeah, the true floor general in that.
Doesn't matter what sport it is, as long as she's on the court, she'll find you.
Yeah, 1,010 assists for Abbie, who has been an all-district athlete in both volleyball and basketball, and is the quintessential leader for anybody would want any program. And Wheelersburg has a lot of those with Ellie Rudy and Mia Darnell, and Abbie's another one of those. Those gritty leaders that you want on your team. So Abbie, again, congratulations, and appreciate you taking the time out to talk about your team success and your accomplishments, and we wish you the best in whether going to Shawnee State, that's your plan right now, and us being Shawnee State attendees or graduates, we are excited to see what you do there. Then I have to give a shout out because I haven't done my due diligence with giving South Webster boys soccer enough credit. I think I've gone several shows without mentioning them, and I should have mentioned them because they did clinch the SOC 1. 15th straight time they won the SOC 1 crown. Not a shock there. What has really stood out to me is the way they have taken on and played so well against the Division II and Division I competition. Athens, Albany Alexander, St. Trace, and Logan. They beat St. Trace on their home pitch. So I think that it says a lot about what Corey Claxton has built at South Webster. They're 8-1-4 this year, even with the tough slate. So just keep it up, guys. I mean, Michael Andrews and Jacob Ruth on that back line are as solid as you'll find, and Bo Evans, Holstein, and Ty Collins are as good of a 1-2-3 offensive punch as you'll see. And they only lose one senior. It's going to be really scary to see what they do next year with only losing D'Angelo Thompson out of that entire roster. So it's really going to be scary. Then you have Talyn Parker and Isaac Kelly, who did an outstanding job combining for all 5 Portsmouth touchdowns in its 34-14 victory over Chesapeake. I think both have really had to, as much as they stepped up their game the entire year and have really worked their butts off to get Portsmouth where it's at now, they had to even more so, and they really answered the bell against Chesapeake, getting a huge win. You never know. We'll talk about Fairland in a little while, but a win over Fairland in the OVC race could still be alive for Portsmouth, and a playoff berth, more importantly. So that big efforts from those two. Then the Berg and West lines on both sides of the football, absolutely dominating in every facet. Berg and West offensive lines rush for over 8 yards. Their backs rush for over 8 yards per carry. You cannot ask for much more than that when you can trust your offensive line to open up holes for Garrett Hurd or Dominic Reyes or guys like that to just run straight through them. I saw the holes at Wheelersburg and Waverly, and it was impressive just on simple draw and option read plays, how how wide open the holes were against Bergen. I've heard people say the same about West Valley. And then the defensive lines were just outstanding, with Valley gaining less than 100 yards of total offense for the night, and then Wheelersburg holding a stout Waverly rushing attack led by Drew Kritzweiser to just 30 yards on 26 carries. Kritzweiser only had 23 yards on 16 carries. And it just speaks a lot to the discipline of both lines. As Chad Johnson says, the Wheelersburg defensive coordinator, stop the run, bend but don't break on the pass. They definitely did that. They let Clayton Howe do his work, throwing the ball around on the perimeter. Came up and made the plays when the ball was caught, and then controlled the line of scrimmage on the run game and kept Waverly from really establishing any kind of offensive momentum. So shout out to both Berg and West. The lines, the big boys on the line, have really done their thing this year. And then lastly, we got Berg and Notre Dame volleyball for clinching the SOC 1 and 2 volleyball titles. Both teams have been outstanding all year, and I cannot wait to see what they do this coming Wednesday. I will be there for a 6 p.m. matchup. It was going to be 5:30, but it's been changed according to Jared Shaw, to 6 p.m. So congratulations to both schools, and I cannot wait to see what they do against each other. Notre Dame was there scouting Berg on Thursday when they were playing Waverly, so they got little peeks at what Berg can do, and I'm sure Berg has been doing the same thing. So it's going to be neat to see. It's going to be, I think, a 5-setter. It'll be a good one.
Yeah, that'll be one of the most interesting volleyball matches of the year. And you were talking about the Wheelersburg and the West offensive line. We were talking about them before we did the show. We think maybe even they can block for us. Maybe we can get 2 or 3 yards per carry. I wouldn't go as far as 8. I'm not fast enough. I'm getting old.
I have a 5.6 40, so that's legit. 5.6 40 is the best. It's the best I have.
I don't want a timeline. It'd probably be 6 even. But hey, we're gonna go ahead and do the picks on a separate video this week. I know this episode went a little long, so make sure you join us for Hunter Staggs and mine and Kevin's picks coming up this week. And thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Southeast Ohio Sports Talk. We hope you'll join us for more episodes down the road. We'll have plenty of tournament action to
Yes,
talk about.
for sure.
And make sure, of course, that you stay tuned to the Portsmouth Daily Times website and the print edition as well. For Kevin Colley, I'm Ben Spicer.